In the heart of Maluti, a vibrant village nestled in South Africa's rolling hills, lived a woman named Nombula. Unlike other women in their mid-30s, Nombula had chosen a different path, one of solitude and strength. Her body, sculpted like a warrior's, was a marvel to behold. With shoulders broad and muscular, a narrow waist, and thighs that spoke of endurance, she was both admired and whispered about. While her peers busied themselves with family duties, Nombula spent her mornings lifting heavy stones by the river and sprinting through the forests. The women of Maluti often gathered by the well to exchange stories. Nombula's name was a frequent topic of conversation. "Why does she not marry?" asked one. "With a body like hers, she could choose any man in the village," another replied. Yet, none dared to question Nombula directly. Her piercing eyes and self-assured demeanor intimidated even the boldest. Nombula was a source of fascination. Her strength, combined with her radiant skin and striking physique, was magnetic. But their admiration often came with whispers of fear. One afternoon, while plowing his field, Saifo, a young bachelor, noticed Nombula lifting a boulder effortlessly. Unable to contain his curiosity, he approached her. "You're stronger than any man I know," he said. Nombula smiled. "Strength comes from within," she replied, continuing her work. The married women of the village felt a simmering envy. Their husbands' lingering glances at Nombula did not go unnoticed. "She's a distraction," said Zendile, a mother of 3. "A woman like that has no place among us." What the villagers didn't know was that Nombula's strength came from years of discipline. Often at a young age, she had learned to fend for herself. Her body became her armor, her fitness a way to channel grief into resilience. Elder Mboli, the oldest woman in the village, often observed Nombula with quiet admiration. One day, she called Nombula to her heart. "Child," she said, "your strength is a gift. But remember, strength without purpose can become a burden." During the annual harvest festival, the villagers celebrated with song and dance. Nombula's presence was impossible to ignore. Draped in a traditional wrap that accentuated her physique, she moved with grace. Even the most critical onlookers couldn't help but be in awe. A stranger arrived in the village, Lwazi, a merchant from the city. Unlike the villagers, he saw beyond Nombula's physical strength. He admired her determination and independence. "You have the spirit of a warrior," he told her. Lwazi's admiration didn't sit well with the local men. To prove his worth, he challenged Nombula to a contest of strength. The villagers gathered to watch, but Nombula's victory was swift and decisive. "Strength is not just in the body but in the mind," she said. Mama Thandi, a widowed healer, pulled Nombula aside one evening. "Child, beware of men who are drawn to your strength but cannot handle it. They will try to diminish you." While fetching firewood, Nombula encountered a group of hunters. They laughed at the sight of her carrying logs heavier than their game. But when one stumbled, she lifted him with ease, silencing their mockery. Little Sifawi, a curious boy, asked Nombula, "Why don't you have a family?" She knelt to his level and said, "I am still finding my place in the world." Families come in many forms. The rainy season brought challenges to Maluti. Floods destroyed crops, and the villagers worked together to rebuild. Nombula's strength became an asset as she helped repair homes and clear debris. Among the women, one stood out as Nombula's rival. Nondi, a weaver known for her beauty, often tried to outshine Nombula. "Strength is nothing without grace," she said during a gathering. Nombula merely smiled. The village elders debated whether to intervene in Nombula's life. "Should we encourage her to marry?" one asked. Elder Mboli replied, "Let her choose her own path." One night, Nombula dreamed of a lioness, majestic and powerful. It stood alone but commanded respect. She woke with a renewed sense of purpose, interpreting the dream as a sign to embrace her uniqueness. The men of the village were divided. Some admired Nombula's independence, while others felt threatened. "A woman like her doesn't need a man," said Makais, a blacksmith. Nombula began teaching fitness to the village children, encouraging them to find strength within. "Your body is your greatest tool," she said. The children adored her. One morning, Lwazi presented Nombula with a beautifully crafted spear. "For the warrior in you," he said. She accepted it with gratitude, though her heart remained guarded. Mama Thandi confided in Nombula. "I was once like you, strong and independent. But I gave it up for love. Don't make the same mistake. During a women's gathering, Nondi confronted Nombula. Your strength is unnatural, she said. Nombula replied, what is natural is to be true to oneself. A leopard terrorized the village, stealing livestock. Nombula volunteered to track it. Armed with Loisi's spear, she faced the beast and drove it away, earning the villagers' respect. Slowly, the villagers began to accept Nombula for who she was. Her actions spoke louder than any gossip, and her strength became a symbol of hope. To the astonishment of the village, Nombula gave birth to 50 healthy children over the years. Each child was as radiant and robust as their mother, their laughter filling the air. My children are my legacy, she often said, while the married woman looked on with envy and admiration. Despite the wealth of love, many married women in the village struggled with health issues and infertility. They began to view Nombula's strength and her children as a blessing, even though jealousy lingered in their hearts. Nombula's large family became the talk of Maluti. Some praised her for her resilience, while others whispered of unnatural forces. 50 children. It's not humanly possible, they muttered, though none could deny the health and happiness of her brood. Nombula's children, full of energy and intelligence, became a source of pride for the village. They excelled in everything they did, from farming to storytelling, embodying their mother's strength and discipline. One day, the married women of the village approached Nombula. Teach us your ways, they said. We wish to grow strong like you and understand the secret of your blessings. Nombula agreed, opening her heart to the woman who once scorned her. Nombula gathered the married women in the village and began teaching them the discipline she had cultivated for years. Strength is not just in the body, it is in the mind and soul, she said. The woman listened attentively as she demonstrated exercises, taught healthy eating habits, and shared wisdom on resilience and self-love. Slowly, the woman began to adopt her ways, and their energy and outlook started to shift. The training sessions created a new bond between Nombula and the woman. Laughter and camaraderie replaced the jealousy and gossip that once dominated their interactions. We are stronger together, Nombula reminded them. For the first time, the woman began to appreciate her not as a rival but as a sister. Nombula's children, each unique yet equally vibrant, became an integral part of the village. They worked alongside their mother, spreading joy and teaching the younger villagers the lessons they had learned from her. The children's kindness and respect made them beloved by all, even winning over the hearts of the woman who once envied Nombula. The men of the village, still puzzled by the mystery of Nombula's children, held a meeting. Could one of us be the father of her children? Asked Saifo. The question hung in the air, but none could provide an answer. Yet, deep down, many suspected that they had played a part in her extraordinary legacy. Elder Mboli gathered the villagers one evening and told a story about a lioness blessed by the ancestors to carry the strength of the land. Perhaps Nombula carries that blessing, she suggested. The villagers began to see her less as an enigma and more as a force of nature, destined to uplift their community. Under Nombula's guidance, the married woman's health began to improve. Their once frail bodies grew stronger and their spirits became lighter. Though they could not bear children, they found fulfillment in mentoring Nombula's offspring and supporting each other as a community. As Nombula's children grew older, they began to ask questions about their fathers. Who are they, Mama? Asked one of the eldest. Nombula smiled gently and said, each of you carries the spirit of the men who admired my strength. But remember, your identity is shaped by who you choose to become. The presence of Nombula's family brought the village closer together. Her children helped in the fields, cared for the elders, and entertained the younger ones with stories and songs. Nombula's influence had turned Maluti into a harmonious community, where everyone found a sense of belonging. The village held a new festival to celebrate their unity. Nombula and her children were honored with gifts and blessings. During the celebration, the women, now stronger and more confident, danced proudly alongside their husbands. One evening, a group of men approached Nombula. We suspect some of us may be the fathers of your children, they said hesitantly. Nombula looked at them with understanding. You may have contributed, but these children are mine by the will of the ancestors. They are not bound by one father, they belong to the village. The elders of Maluti declared that Nombula's children were a blessing from the ancestors, sent to ensure the village's prosperity. They are a symbol of what we can achieve when we work together, said Elder Mboli. Nombula's children began to take on leadership roles within the village. They organized events, mediated conflicts, and shared their mother's teachings. Their contribution solidified their place in the community and reinforced their mother's legacy. The married woman, once envious of Nombula, now saw her as a role model and mentor. "You've shown us that motherhood comes in many forms," Zandile told her. "Thank you for sharing your strength with us." Nombula proposed new traditions for the village, emphasizing fitness, health, and unity. The villagers embraced these ideas, creating a culture that celebrated strength, resilience, and mutual support. Some of Nombula's children left the village to explore the world, while others stayed to continue her work. Wherever they went, they carried the lessons and values instilled in them by their mother. Years later, a traveler visited Meluti and was amazed by the harmony and strength of its people. "This is unlike any village I've seen," he said. The villagers credited Nombula and her children for transforming their community. Sitting by the river, Nombula reflected on her journey. "I chose a path that many did not understand," she thought. "But it was the right one. My children are my legacy, and this village is my family." Meluti had become a beacon of hope and prosperity. Visitors came from far and wide to learn from Nombula's teachings. The village's transformation was a testament to the power of resilience, unity, and love. Nombula began to step back, allowing her children and the younger generation to take on leadership roles. "You are ready to lead," she told them. "Continue to honor our traditions and build a brighter future." Nombula's legacy lived on long after she was gone. The villagers remembered her as the lioness of Meluti, a woman whose strength and wisdom had transformed their lives. Her story became a cherished folk tale, passed down from generation to generation, inspiring all who heard it to find strength within themselves.